Mount Olympus is the tallest mountain in Greece, standing at 2,917 meters. In Greek mythology, it is believed to be the home of the gods. It has been considered a sacred place of wonder for thousands of years. In fact, archaeological evidence from 400 BC has been found on the summit. Today, like many of the tall mountains across the world, thousands of people attempt to reach its summit. It is estimated that roughly 10,000 climbers ascend Mount Olympus each year. When our friend Kayla decided to come to Greece and visit us, all three of us knew that attempting to climb Mount Olympus would be high on our list. If you've been watching for a while, you'll know that Kayla and I did the grueling 30-kilometer day hike of the Auger Point Traverse together through the mountains this summer. We set off on October 29th for our attempt to climb Mount Olympus. Kayla and I started our approach from the town of Lotochoro. Our plan is to hike up the river valley on day 1 and camp with the van in the parking lot of the trailhead to the refuge. Brian will join us for day 2 and we will hike up to Refuge Spilios Agapitos, where we booked a stay for the refuge's final night of operation for the season. Day 3, we will attempt to summit and then hike all the way back down to the van. I hope you enjoy joining us on this incredible adventure. You've already watched Kayla and I gain some distance up the river valley. Here we are, absolutely smitten with the trail, the smell of the early fall, the sounds of the crunchy leaves, and the energy of the area. This is so cool. We're walking on this path and underneath is a trough of water they're routing down towards the village. So amazing. You're literally walking on top of a small river and you can hear that beautiful noise. This is so cool. We've been hiking for a few hours now and we've made it up about 800 vertical meters. We made it past some really amazing areas, including a monastery. And we're getting pretty close to the van at this point, so our day is almost done today. It's 4 p.m. We've almost done this long approach up the river valley. Can't believe how incredible it's been. The trail has been super well maintained, really well marked. We've actually seen a lot of people because it is Saturday, so a lot of locals are out and about hiking, and that's been really neat as well. So it's been a pretty chill day of hiking, just taking everything in. Everything is just so new, exciting, and beautiful. We've almost made it to the top now, so we're expecting to see Brian and the van up at the trailhead here, and we will have climbed up to 1,100 vertical meters, and it's absolutely stunning. What? Beautiful. So we're almost there, almost done day 1. How's it feel?
Great.
Feels good. Here we are. Okay, we made it to the parking lot. We're done day 1. We climbed 800 vertical meters up to this parking lot. So this is where a lot of people start the hike from and where Brian will be starting it from. Now we're expecting to see Brian. And there's a lot of cars, so I think he maybe would have had to park farther away. So, wow, yeah, there's a lot of cars here. We've been going for about an hour, made it up some of the climbing already, and I'm very cold right now. It is getting very crisp in the shade, but since we're climbing, I don't want to put on too many layers because I'll just get too hot too quickly. So I'm just starting to walk a little. Looks like we might break into the sun soon. The summit looks unreal. I'm looking at it now. And we're probably about halfway from the parking lot to the hut, or the refuge. How are you feeling?
Happy.
We've made it to 1,800 meters now, so we're 300 vertical meters from the hut. Seems like maybe I'm feeling the most sluggish out of everyone. Just not feeling quite myself today. Just feeling a bit off. So, I'm just gonna take my time, be kind to myself, and take breaks when I need them. When we were planning this trip, I was definitely advocating to stay at the refuge. I thought it would be such an incredible experience to stay in the first refuge of the region. And I also loved the idea of carrying a light backpack. But then, as we were climbing up to the refuge, I noticed myself getting increasingly more afraid and anxious. I actually haven't stayed in a building with lots of people since before COVID. And for me, being around lots of people can be really difficult. We're approaching the refuge now. Lunchtime. When we arrived at the refuge, the people running it were lovely. The refuge itself was super cool. The food and coffee were amazing. And yet I still couldn't shake this intense fear and anxiety I was feeling. When I thru hike, I'm so used to being on my own and just hiking past any busy spots. So this felt like it pushed me way outside my comfort zone. Brian and Kayla were amazing in supporting me when I broke down and told them how I was feeling, and I ended up having a good experience. But this was by far the hardest part of the climb for me. And I just want to make it clear, there was nothing or no one who made me feel this way. I just often struggle with social anxiety. The refuge itself and all the people we met were amazing, and once I got over my social anxiety, I had a really nice time and even had some great conversations with people. I would highly recommend staying here. I actually managed to have a solid sleep at the refuge, and I was feeling much more like myself on the morning of day 3. We broke into treeline almost right away, and there is something that feels both so magical and so much like home at treeline for me. I love pretty much everything about hiking, but breaking into the alpine is always my favorite moment. It's almost like I can feel something inside me shift, and all of a sudden I am clicked into a rhythm of life that I intrinsically feel I belong to. We got going from the hut at 7:15 this morning. It's a perfect day, couple small clouds, but nothing major. I think it's gonna be good. We're all feeling pretty good, I think. I had a great sleep last night, even though it was a room of 18 people. I had really good earplugs, so feeling a bit better today, a little bit more like myself. It didn't take long for me to spot my first mountain goats, the chamois, and they were everywhere. I kept stopping and looking at them through my little spyglass.
Stand still right now, where I can see you. There's a feeling in my heart so strange. Baby, I don't want you to change. Just stay the same, and everything will be okay. Promise
We've made it here to Scala, which is the first peak, and there's just one peak to go. The clouds have come in, so I'm not sure if we're gonna be in them for the rest of the time or if they're gonna blow past. When we reached the first summit, the weather had started to move in and the tallest summit was looking uninviting, shrouded in clouds and being whipped by the wind. We were with several other groups of hikers and we started to rearrange ourselves into those who would attempt the final summit push and those who would not. We pressed on and the scrambling section of the climb began. The word scrambling is used to describe an action that is between hiking and rock climbing. When scrambling, you are moving through terrain that requires the use of at least one hand on the rock to safely negotiate through. Once it reaches the difficulty where you require the use of ropes to keep you safe, then it is considered rock climbing. Scrambling is graded on the Yosemite decimal system, which rates the difficulty of walks, hikes, and climbs. This section of the hike is rated a Class 3 rock scramble, which means it has exposure, handholds are necessary, a rope could be carried, and falls could easily be fatal. This part of the hike is not to be underestimated. We wore helmets that we rented at the Refuge for this section, since there were loose rocks that could have easily been kicked by climbers ahead of us, and the helmets would protect us from lacerations. Due to my ample experience in the mountains, I felt comfortable with this terrain. As I climbed, I remarked to myself how it felt so strange that this, the most technical part of the hike, felt easier to me than my afternoon at the Refuge. I just find it so interesting that depending on who we all are individually, we will find completely different experiences scary. So if you're watching this thinking, I'm brave for continuing, just know that I think you're brave for doing anything that scares you. At most mountain summits, there is a summit register you can sign to leave behind the evidence that you made it. While we were up there, it was no surprise to me that this place has been deemed the home of the gods. I've since learned that ancient Greek pottery, coins, and evidence of sacrificial ashes estimated to be from 400 BC have been found on this summit. It almost feels like standing on a wrinkle in time being up on this ancient giant. We made it to the summit. This is the highest point in Greece, and it's a bit chilly, so we're gonna head back down right away. Okay, up here. On our way down the mountain, I felt exhilarated in a way that I hadn't felt in quite some time. It's hard to describe or capture how special the place this is. As we hiked down, we noticed that even more of the colors had changed and fall was really setting in. It felt extra special that we had climbed on the final day of the climbing season. We were all just a little bit giddy as we made our way back down to the van. Here we go. Thank you so much for watching and joining us on this adventure. Make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my videos. We made it! Back at the parking lot. Next week, I take you with me to another very special place and share with you some of the hiking mistakes I've made. You won't want to miss it. Bye!